Hi lovelies. So today I have planned a wellness themed flow. So lots of fun, zero medical claims. I'm not making any sort of medical claims. It's just a fun theme. We'll be doing lots of twists, lots of things to get our heart rate kind of pumping, more blood out into our extremities. We'll do some pranayama or breathing work that are all geared towards those types of things and for our general wellness. And maybe even a couple other little things I'll throw in for you, little surprises along the way. So let's begin. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position. And we're going to do a little workshop with a breath called the Ujjayi breath. If this is already in your practice, you can totally ignore what I'm saying and just start to go ahead and find it. If it's not, we're going to quickly kind of run through a workshop so that you can hopefully add it into your practice. It's known for its purification qualities, a purifying breath, whether that's physical, mental, or spiritual. It can be either or all three, so whichever resonates with you the most. So the way I'm going to teach it is we're going to focus on really the exhale portion. So we want to make sure that our breathing is even. So if we're going to inhale for 5, we're exhaling for 5. We're inhaling for 4, we'll exhale for 4. I'll start us off on a count of 5, and then as you find your own, you can start to change the number that you use based on your lung capacity. So we'll go ahead, and the very first part of this, we're going to imagine that there's going to be a mirror in front of our face, and that we want to fog it up. So it would be that little kind of movements where you could, draw a little heart in there if you wanted, a little smiley face. Is the kind of throat restriction that we're looking for. So let's do that 2 times just to get a little bit of practice with what's going on in there. So we'll inhale for 5, and then we'll fog up the glass for 5. And we'll begin now. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now fog up that glass for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time. Fog up the glass for 5. Mouth open. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hopefully you did it. I couldn't count and also do the as well, but that's the general sound we're going for. So now to complete and actually make it the Ujjayi breath, we're going to continue that exact same motion like we're fogging up the mirror, but now we'll close our mouth. So once our mouth is closed and the air can't escape that way, it kind of has one place to go, which is down the back of our throat. So it is meant to sound a bit like an ocean wave or maybe wind blowing through the trees. I'm going to come closer to the camera so you can hear it better. And here's what it should sound like. We'll inhale, and then the exhale will sound like this. So let's see if you can do that. Again, it's the same kind of motion as we did in the beginning of fogging up the glass, except for with the mouth closed. It's okay if you feel air coming out of your nose. That's totally normal. Don't let it discourage you. We want enough air to go down the throat to at least make that restriction sound. So let's try it a few times together. I'll count maybe the first one, and then I'll just join you in the following as we practice. And you can close your eyes as well. So inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, mouth closed for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep going. Find your own count, what works good for you. And keep practicing. It can take so long to master this one. It's meant to keep our energy and our breath, our prana inside of us to purify our own bodies. It also, for me, is most helpful in calming my mind, and the focus on that sound helps us to stay present and in the moment. One more. So if you need more practice, you can always pause the video and then rejoin. We're gonna move on and we're gonna choose a mudra that's gonna help us today. So a mudra just means a hand gesture, a hand placement. It directly translates to seal. So you can kind of think of it as a seal to seal in an intention for your practice. The one we'll be taking today is the Ganesh, or that some people will call it the Ganesha mudra. And it is the mudra to remove obstacles. So you'll take this one by placing, it's all going to happen right here in the heart space. So your right hand will come in front of your heart and the palm is facing towards you. And then you're going to take the left hand and place it behind the right. The palm is facing out. Then you'll just connect the fingers. So our left thumb is pointing down, our right thumb is pointing up, but they're closed in. So as you can see, we've just created kind of an obstacle, right? So this is going to be help us to kind of cement our intention. We're going to use that Ujjayi breath with this mudra that we've created. And maybe the obstacle that you are thinking of could be a physical one, it could be a mental one, it could be a spiritual one, or it could be all three. On an inhale, we're going to tug at our mudra, tugging in opposite directions to kind of create tension and create that obstacle. And on our Ujjayi exhale, we're going to release it and relax. Inhale to pull and exhale to relax. I'll count you through the first one and then we'll just continue it together. So we'll do it in 5, but again, finding a number that suits your lung capacity. All right, so closing the eyes. Inhale and tug against your mudra for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Find your Ujjayi exhale down the back of the throat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, pull on that mudra, and we'll just go on our own breaths. Relaxing on the exhale, creating the tension on the inhale. Take your attention to the space in the heart. Maybe even directing the exhales there as well. A few more. Take one more big inhale and big exhale. Seal in your intentions. And then relax your hands to the knees. Keep the eyes closed. Keep the breath flowing. Blink the eyes open. On an inhale, circle sweep the arms up high. Exhale, draw them down into the heart. Inhale, we'll take a twist to the right side. Left hand can come to the knee. We'll start to take the fingertips to the mat on the long edge of the mat. And then working to twist at the belly, keeping the spine flat, we'll draw the heart down, out and down. Our back, we're still kind of taking a bit of a fold, but we're not rounding. Our back is nice and flat. The gaze can be at the space between the hands. We're making sure we're grounding both sitting bones. So paying a special careful attention to that left sitting bone. Really seeing if we can press it deep into the mat, finding this twist. Breathe. Next, exhale, press the right palm down into the mat or the ground beside you, and the left arm can reach up and around, finding a side body stretch. The gaze can be forward, or it can be up and over the bicep. Again, pressing the left hip into the mat. Lots of length happening. Exhale, coming back to center. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up high. Deep exhale, draw the hands to the heart, continuing that Ujjayi breath. This time, we're twisting to the left. Right hand can come to the knee to initiate your twist. Our twist initiates at the belly. Come down to the fingertips. Ground the right sitting bone and flatten out the spine. Pull the heart forward. Our gaze is between the hands. The crown of our head is pulling away from our shoulders. We're lengthening as we twist. Our next exhale, plant the left palm, circle sweep that right arm up and around and find your side body stretch. Pressing the right hip down into the mat. Our gaze can be forward or up and under the bicep. As we exhale, coming back through center. Inhale, sweep the arms up high. Exhale, draw them into the heart. We're gonna rock back onto our forearms. So our fingertips are facing towards our sitting bones. We'll rock all the way back to come onto our forearms. Press the shoulder blades together to open the heart, and then allow the head to kind of open where our neck is able to lengthen. We have lots of space between our chin and our chest. You can pull the solar plexus or the belly button through a little more. In this pose, all of our chakras are open. And if you'd like a little visualization for this, maybe you could close the eyes and imagine a beautiful, bright, white beam of light that's being shown through your head, through the crown of the head, through the throat, goes down through the heart space, down through the belly, and out through the hips and into the mat. With every inhale, maybe the light gets a little brighter. And with every exhale, maybe you start to see it flood through more of your body out into the extremities. Beautiful white light through the fingertips, through the eyes, through the toes, through each rib. And starting to rock back up into our steady seated position. We'll come up and over our ankles and find a tabletop. We'll run through some cat and cow. So engage the core first. And on an inhale, we'll drop the belly and lift the chin. So finding arc in our back, the crown of our head and our sitting bones are pulling to the sky. Exhale, find your cat. So tucking the chin to the chest. Our hips are curled in. If we are a dog and we had a tail, we'd be tucking it underneath us. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale, back to your cat, moving with your own breath. And really, I know I say that a lot, but really allowing it to move us. So not relying on our mind to tell us when to move. But once we're in our cow here, and we can't inhale anymore, allow the need for that exhale to be what moves us into our cat. And as we can't exhale anymore, and we need that inhale, let that be what moves us into our cow. Continue. Take one more, and we'll meet in a neutral spine. So you found your neutral spine. On an inhale, we'll reach that right arm up high. Circle through the wrist one way and then the opposite. And then we'll thread the needle. Right arm is gonna come behind the left. We'll rock onto the shoulder to find a stretch. You can keep the hips up high, or you can sit back on the hips to find a child's pose, whatever feels nice. Our right ear is down to the mat. And you can think about if you want to keep that hand neutral, the left hand neutral, or if you'd like to engage it and spider up to the fingertips to keep that tricep engaged. And the fingers, and the shoulder. When you're ready, on an inhale, send the right arm back up high. Exhale, set it down for your tabletop. We'll move right into the left side. Inhale, send the left leg high, or arm high. And then find those circles through the wrist. And when you're ready, thread the needle. Left arm comes under right. Left ear comes to the mat, keeping the hips up high, or maybe you choose to set them down. Find that Ujjayi breath if you've lost it. And when you're ready, on an inhale, come back up. And exhale, set the left hand to meet the mat. We'll take some cat and cow again, but this time we'll add a shoulder roll. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see. So on an inhale, we'll roll the shoulders back and then find our cow. Exhale, first roll the shoulders forward and then find your cats. Inhale, roll the shoulders for cow. Exhale, roll them forward for cats. If that throws you, or if it doesn't quite feel as nice, then skip it and you can just flow as you normally would. This is kind of a more of a two-parted cat and cow. Take one more cow and one more cat. And we'll come into our tabletop. Move the hands one handprint in front of where they are now. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips, and you should be in your downward facing dog. So once you're there, working to pedal out the feet, walking out your dog. So one leg can be straight while the other is bent, and then switch it. And sometimes it can feel really nice to put a lot of bend in our legs in our downward dog, allowing the head to hang into a neutral position. And we'll start to press through the fingertips and lift those hips as high as you can. And then once you've created as much length as you can, pressing through the fingertips, we can start to maybe straighten one leg and then switch and straighten the other. And then when you're really ready for it, you can straighten both. Maybe some gentle motions of yes and no with the head might feel nice for the neck. And then we'll start to walk the feet all the way to the hands at the top of the mat. And we'll slowly start to roll up into a standing position. Once you're there, roll the shoulders up. Exhale to roll them back. Inhale, roll them up. Exhale, roll them back. We're gonna take a wood chopper breath to really build up our internal body heat in the name of wellness, right? So I will show you what it's gonna look like, and then I'll demonstrate with you. So it's gonna be so we're gonna lose the Ujjayi breath just for this, and then we're gonna come right back to it for the rest of our practice. But this one will be an inhale, arms are gonna come up. Exhale, they'll come out. I'm sorry, let's start that over. Inhale, and then another inhale to sweep the arms out, and then another inhale, and then an exhale to let it go, and then an inhale, and then an inhale, and an inhale, and let it go. So our inhale is gonna have 3 parts. So I will guide the first 2, and then we'll start just going on our own breath. So when you're ready, release all of your exhales so we can start with a fresh inhale. And here we go. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Keep going on your own breath. And then settle into stillness. Just let the hands relax naturally at your side. Close the eyes. And just sit in that sensation. How do we feel? Did we get warmer? What is our temperature like? And then when you're ready, blink the eyes opened. On an inhale, circle sweep the arms up high. Exhale, swan dive towards the toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Find some length. Pull the crown of the head away from the shoulders. The shoulders come away from the hips. Keep all that length and then refold. You can bend the knees or put some softness in them if your hamstrings aren't quite ready for straightness. Yes is the nose with the head. Shift the weight into the palms and step or hop the feet back. We're going to lower through our Chaturanga. Arms come to a 90-degree. Inhale for up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, send the right leg high for three-legged dog. Our hips stay square. And we'll take that right foot in between the hands, runner's lunge. So go ahead and plant that left hand. We'll take a twist, reach up high with the right arm. Our hips are still staying nice and squared here. Our gaze can be up at our thumb if it's comfortable for the neck. If it's not, it can be down at our big toe. Exhale to plant the hand. We're going for a ninja. Walk the hands over across the long edge of the mat. Allow the heel to kind of come up. Their toes are going to point to the sky. Our left heel is planted. You can keep the hands down for support. You can draw them to your heart. We're working to open up the knee, to open up the hip. So we have kind of two versions of hip opening and hip stretching. Our first was with our hips nice and square, and now we're opening the hips. Exhale, start to walk the hands back over for our runner's lunge. Inhale, send that right foot high, three-legged dog. Exhale, fall in triangle. So right foot crosses over the mat. Reach the left arm up high. Maybe you stack shoulder on top of shoulder. Or maybe you reach even further and open up the heart. We're sending our hips nice and high here. We're on the outside blade of that right foot. Deep breaths. Exhale to plant the left hand. Inhale back to three-legged dog. Exhale back to runner's lunge. We're gonna go for a high lunge. Inhale, we're just gonna stay for one inhale. So really reach back for the back wall, crescent lunge. Exhale, come back down to the mat. Left foot meets right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse that swan dive. We'll melt the hands right back through the heart, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. A quick flow to get our heart rate going. We'll step or hop the feet back through your Chaturanga. Shift forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, send the left leg high for three-legged dog. Hips are square. Find your runner's lunge. Left foot comes between the hands. I'm gonna go ahead and keep that right hand planted. Reach up high for your lunge twist. Left shoulder stacks on top of right. Gaze goes up to the thumb. Maybe even work to pull the right hip up a little higher to keep them nice and level. Exhale, lower the hand to the mat. Find our ninja on this side. Walking the hands around to the back foot. Coming onto the heel. So our big toes, our toes are all of five actually, are pointing to the sky. And again, you can keep the hands down, or maybe you draw them to heart. You can use that elbow to press the knee open, to open up the hips. Breathe. On an exhale, start to come back to your runner's lunge. Walking around, frame out that front foot. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, fall in triangle. Left foot crosses the mat, coming onto the blade of that foot. Reach up high. And again, stacking shoulder on shoulder. And maybe you open up the heart. Hips are high. Exhale to lower the right hand. Inhale, back to three-legged dog. Exhale, left foot comes between the hands, runner's lunge, ready for that crescent on an inhale, reach up high. Reach for the back wall, we're not staying long, give it what you got. Exhale, hands come back down. Right foot meets left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Hands draw to heart. Let's find some stillness. And we'll find some balance. Balance in the body, balance in the mind. So when an inhale, start to lift the heels high. Find a point in front of you to gaze, and it's going to help to really hold your balance. We call it a drishti. So once you have your balance, we'll start to bend with keeping the heels high. We'll bend through the knees and see if we can get our hips to sit down on our heels for a little ankle balance. So you could stay right here if this is feeling nice, or maybe you choose to open up your knees and kiss the heels together. If you're there, you can even push the hips forward a little bit to even open up the hips a little more. Or again, maybe you choose to keep the knees together. Breathe. And see if we can go right back up. So heels stay lifted. Lift through the pelvic floor, lift through the core, and easy and steady does it. Starting to rise. Exhale to lower the heels. Inhale, sweep the arms up high. Exhale, swan dive down towards the toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step or hop the feet back through your chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's just take one big, juicy, giant ujjayi breath right here in our downward facing dog. And then unplug the hands and walk them to the feet. Maybe we'll find a rag doll, so grabbing opposite elbows. Sway from side to side, allow the head to hang. My head's lifted so that you can hear me. But you'll want yours to hang, just like Jello. Maybe even start to say yeses and nos. Settle into stillness, and we'll go ahead and bind that left hand onto the right ankle. Bend the left knee and reach up high with the right arm. If it feels nice, our gaze can be at our thumb. If it doesn't, it can be down at the mat. So we're in a twist here. You can stay right here, or maybe you find a half bind. You can flip the palm around and then rest the hand in your hip crease. Or maybe you find a full bind, taking that right arm that was bound and take it through the legs, and then finding connection. Really, actually, it's that Ganesh Mudra that we had before, that connection and the bind behind you. Take a few more breaths in whatever position you found, or whatever modification or advancement. And exhale to release any binds. And we'll go ahead and exhale to release the twist. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Come on up. And we're going to go ahead and allow our hands to tap at the top, and we'll turn our toes out, pointing outward. Exhale, find your yogi squat. So our elbows are going to come to the insides of the knees, and we're pressing them open. Sending the sitting bones down to the mat, feeling grounded. Reaching the crown of the head up to the sky, feeling lifted. And take that right arm and ground it at a diagonal. And then we'll reach up high with the left arm. We're finding an open twist here. So our heart is opened, nice little heart opener. Our gaze can be at the thumb, or maybe it's down at the other hand if it doesn't feel comfortable for the neck. Exhale, bring it back down. We'll just switch. So this time left palm grounds at the angle, right arm reaches up high. We have a nice diagonal happening here. Our heart is lifted, our gaze is at our thumbs. Our Ujjayi breath is flowing. Exhale, bring it back down to the mat. We'll go ahead and press the palms into the mat and find that ragdoll again. Toes can come forward. And this time we'll bind on to the left ankle with the right hand, bend the right knee, and reach up high with that left arm. You can decide, or maybe do what you did before on the other side if you'd like to take a half bind, or maybe the full. Or maybe it just feels nice to keep that arm floating there. Inhale to release any bind you have. Exhale to come back out of the twist. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're going to walk the hands right back out and find your downward facing dog. You can take a vinyasa before if you'd like. We'll meet right here. Come up onto the toes and then bend the knees. We're coming onto our bottom, so you can just sit right down, or maybe you find a little lift and come onto the bottom this way. So now that we're down on the ground, this is a part of our wellness where we're gonna work on controlling our breathing, and we'll start to cool down the body and prepare it for our rest and relaxation. So we're gonna start, you can find half lotus, placing the right foot in the hip crease. If that's not comfortable, you can just come to a regular cross-legged seat. But if it is, we're gonna take that right foot right into the hip crease. Sitting up nice and tall, we're gonna find a twist. So start to twist over to the right, the left hand could come to the right knee, and we're gonna twist to the right. So if you have that half lotus, you can reach that right arm around and bind onto the big toe with the peace fingers, and then you have a bind that will help you into the twist. Holding the belly button in nice and tight, gaze over that right shoulder and breathe. Big deep breaths. We're all twisted up, so maybe it's not even just breathing into the belly area, the diaphragm area, or the chest. Maybe we're breathing into the intercostal space in the back. So think about directing breath into the back. Exhale to release the bind if you've had it. And then another exhale to release the twist. We'll send both feet out in front of us for staff pose. Sitting up nice and tall, think about really grounding through the sitting bones. And then once we feel that grounding, lifting everything up from there. We'll start to walk the hands down and bind onto whatever feels comfortable. So maybe that's just right here, because sometimes the staff pose, some days that is like enough. But then maybe if you want to add a little bit more, you can come to the shins, the ankles, maybe the big toes with the peace fingers, or maybe the outsides of the feet. Whatever you have onto, I think I'll go with the big toes today. We're gonna flatten out and we're gonna take some cat and cow here. So just like we did in the beginning with our tabletop, on an inhale, pull the heart through, and we're finding that arc kind of in our back. Our hip bones are pressing to the back wall. And as we exhale, now we'll find that roundness. Chin comes to, we're tucking our tail underneath us, our chin comes to our chest. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale, find your cat. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale for a cow. Exhale for a cat. Inhale one more time for a cow. Hold here. So our heart is lifted, our back is completely straight and flat. And we'll exhale, take it back in. We'll find that twist or on the opposite side. So coming in and deciding if you would want to just regular cross-legged, or finding that half lotus. So our left foot comes to the hip crease if you're finding that lotus. Right hand can touch down on the left knee and starting to initiate the twist, always from the belly. Gaze goes around to the left shoulder. And if you have your half lotus, maybe that left hand creeps around and bounds onto the big toe. Breathing into the intercostal space between the ribs. Actively twisting, so we're continuing to get into this twist, wringing ourselves out. On an inhale, we think of the inhale, it lengthens and lifts us. An exhale deepens our twist. So constantly we're trying to find more space to move and to transform our asana. Inhale to release any binds you have. Exhale to release the twist. Let's go ahead and take a restorative pose. So we're gonna just draw our knees together, keeping them bent. Hands are gonna wrap underneath our thighs. Allow the forehead to come to the knees and relax. This is a great time to really practice hearing and making that beautiful sound of the Ujjayi breath, because now we can hear our own breath and the own sound echoing off of our thighs. Maybe as you're breathing, you go back to that imagery of the beautiful light that's shining in your inner body. Allowing it to bring anything to our attention that might be an obstacle or standing in our path of being completely well. In the physical body, in the spiritual body, in the mental state. We'll allow it to illuminate us. And on the biggest exhale that you've taken all day or night, whenever you're doing this, one vertebra at a time, we'll come and roll back onto our backs. So nice and slow. And we're gonna move into some inversions. So I'm gonna teach two. One of them is gonna be a shoulder stand. So if you have any neck injuries, shoulder injuries, or maybe even high blood pressure, sometimes that's not recommended. So I'll give you an alternative now. We're gonna do a bit of a hybrid between sleeping tiger and legs up the wall. So if you're gonna take this option, your feet can be up to the wall. So the bottoms of our feet are pointing towards the sky. And we're gonna send our hands up as well. So if you're sending your hands up, our palms are gonna be facing towards the sky. So here's where it's kind of a hybrid. We have sleeping tiger hands and legs up the wall legs. If you'd like to do sleeping tiger legs as well, it's just a 90-degree bend. So you can go even anywhere in between there. We want it to be nice and restorative. We're just thinking about dripping energy from our extremities all the way down into our core for our Shavasana to prepare for that. So that's option one. Option two is going to be a shoulder stand. So for this one, let's see if I can get right where you can see me. We're just going to send our hips high and then catch our hips with our hands. So once we're there, I'm going to be talking this way because we really don't want to move our head from side to side when we're in a shoulder stand. You can start, if you'd like a little more, walking the hands up your back for support. We're working on creating a nice straight line. So eventually stacking our hips on top of our shoulders, but it doesn't have to look anything like that today. Just getting as high as you can. Squeeze the glutes when you're there. And take some deep breaths. Our chin is tucked. Our gaze is maybe up at our toes. Our pelvic floor is lifted. Our elbows are squeezing in towards the midline. And we can really hear the breath in the throat now. So you could stay right here, or maybe you find a plow.
by just sending the feet down to the ground. And taking some breaths here, maybe even rocking up and back, kind of playing around with your edge. And you could stay right here. Or maybe you find ear pressure pose. I'll tell you about it before I do it because I don't think you'll be able to hear me. But you're going to take your knees and press them into your ears, creating pressure, and really keep the breath flowing while you're doing this one. So I'll show you. That's our ear pressure pose. So stopping along the way of any of three of those. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Our inversions are great for circulation. If you're in a shoulder stand, we'll go ahead and come back up to our original stand, so not plow. And then very slowly and gently, 1 vertebra at a time, we'll roll down and eventually find a forward fold. Roll up and into a forward fold. And this is our counter stretch. If you went with so stay there. If you had your forward fold, you're gonna stay in your forward, I'm sorry. If you did your shoulder stand, you stay in the forward fold. And I'm gonna come back to our friends who maybe took option 1. If you're here, maybe you just hug the knees into the chest. Maybe rock from side to side to release the low back. And then our friends who are in their forward fold can come back and join us. Rolling back down to the mat. Join us here with our little rocks. And we're gonna set up for our Shavasana. We'll do it the traditional Ashtanga way, where we put our heads at the tops of our mats and our feet go to the back of the mat. We're gonna open up our body, palms face up. Sometimes I like to lift my chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then sit my chest back down. It creates a little lift in the heart, and it just feels a little more comfortable, especially if you have broad shoulders. Maybe rock the head from side to side, and eventually come into stillness. This is the most healing of all postures, our Shavasana. It's where we give our body rest, relaxation, and insight to heal itself, to trigger the natural healing response team. Coming it back into your regular breath. You can leave that ujjayi, the powerful purification breath for now, and come back into a natural flow as we enjoy our final resting pose without doing anything. Just relaxing. Stay for at least 20 breaths, a couple minutes, because we're not counting, and that's where I'll leave you. Namaste, friends.